Hello, my name is Darren Thomas. I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to begin a series where we look at the use of the R programming language for statistical analysis within the IDE, of RStudio. This video assumes already that you are familiar with exactly what R is and also RStudio. And so what we're going to do over the course of several videos is we're going to learn some practical ways to use this. But just as a brief background, R is a statistical language. Well, it's not really a statistical language. It's a programming language that is used almost primarily for statistical analysis that is very, very popular in the data science community. And with many programming languages, often they have what we call an IDE, an integrated development environment, I believe is the term. And inside that IDE, you actually run your code and conduct your analysis or see how your software works. So to make things simple, R is the language that we're learning in these videos, and we're going to run this code in the IDE called RStudio. And this right here, what you can see in my background is, of course, RStudio. And we're going to use this particular background in order to run our code that we're going to be looking at over the course of several videos. If you have any questions, if you want to install either the R programming language or RStudio, all the ways to do that are available on the internet. Again, like I told you, we're not going to address that. We're assuming you already have R, and we're assuming you already have RStudio as we go through the videos in this particular channel. So this is RStudio, and you can see here that we have, looks like 4 windows here primarily that you can see. If I had to indicate to you where the windows are, let me make this nice and even for you. So in the upper left hand corner, you have what is called the source editor. This is where you can type your code, or sometimes called script. The benefit of the source editor is that it saves what you're typing. And this is valuable because sometimes you might have many steps or many different pieces of code that you want to type in. And of course, you don't want to have to retype the entire thing every single time. And so that's the benefit of that. And this is one of the primary vehicles for running code inside the RStudio environment. Over here, you have what we call the Workspace History. This is where when you make things called objects, and their name is saved right here so that you can see what's going on inside your environment. This will make more sense as we begin to proceed through learning how to code and whatnot. And below that, you have, this is a place for where when you type up your when you make your graphics, they will appear right here in this place called the plot area. Also, you can view other things like, for example, the help. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see that very clearly right there. And so a lot of miscellaneous things appear here. Graphical things tend to appear there, text that you need to read to understand how a package works, etc. And of course, right here, off to the left, the lower left-hand side is what we call the console. This is where you can type code in an interactive manner and kind of go back and forth with R. So you type in something and R responds, you type in something, R responds. And so that's how that works. So those are the 4 main windows that you're going to see a lot of, and pretty much anybody who's using RStudio. And of course, you can make some of these disappear. If you, of course, click on the tab, it'll hide something. If you click on this, or if you want something to take over, you click on the big one, or if you want it to disappear. There's all kind of little ways to play with it, but that's basic Windows features. So one last thing before we conclude today's particular video is we just want to show you how you can use the console real quick. So let's say, of course, R is a language primarily for statistics, so naturally running numbers is what it does best. So let's say I want to know, do a basic addition problem. So 1 plus 2 plus 3. I typed it in, and I want to know the answer. I press enter. And voila, there you go. R tells me right there the answer is 6, which makes complete sense. And that is one way to use the console. Another thing is I could also use the source editor. So I could do 1 plus 2 plus 3. And then I click over here on a little button called source. And then you can see right there I get the same answer. And like I already told you, the advantage of the, the advantage of the source editor is that it saves what I typed. What I typed in the console is gone, but if I put it inside the source editor, it'll be saved, and if I want to change something, I can just do it, And then again, you can see right there, I get a different answer if I put in a different code. Or I can even add more code, so 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And I want to run everything, so I just source all, and I get 2 answers. I get 1 plus 2 plus 5, that was my first line of code. And then I also get 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, which was my second line of code. And so that's the advantage. If I did this in the console, I'd have to type them out separately. So 1 plus 2 plus 5, and then okay, good, and then 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, okay, good. But I had to type them both separately. And of course, if I make a mistake, there's no way to go back and fix it unless I put it inside the source editor. So we're going to end this by talking briefly about one little simple function. And functions are just little quick commands that do things inside a computer program for you. And we're going to learn the print function. So I'm going to do this down here in the console before I do it in the source editor. So print is of course a print function. Basically it prints whatever is inside the parentheses. And so we're going to do hello world like so. This is a very, very common first command that people use when they're making code. And when you press enter, it repeats back to you what you said, hello world. And so you learned a little bit about the first function there called the print function, which just returns whatever you type inside the parentheses, but of course you got to make sure you put it inside quotations. So that's it for this first video. In this particular video, we looked at the R environment, R Studio environment that uses, of course, the R programming language. And we saw the 4 different windows that are used in R. We looked at the source editor, which is a great place for saving code. And of course, yes, you can save them. We'll talk about that more in a future video. We also learned a little bit about the workspace history. This will make more sense in the future when we start saving objects and giving different things names. Then we also looked over here at I guess you can call it the file plots package area, where you can look at plots if you print plots, and if you have any kind of help questions, that's where the text will appear, etc. And lastly, we looked at the console area, where this is where you can interact with R and type code one line at a time. And so from there, we also looked at how to actually use some of the basic features, very, very basic, some addition for right now. And then we looked at one function, and again, a function is just a little piece of programming, a little piece of code that's already typed into the R programming language. And we looked at the print function, which allows you to return whatever it is you typed inside the parentheses inside quotations. So we hope that this video was useful for you, and we hope that you will enjoy our journey as we try to figure out how to use R in a practical manner. Thank you.